Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be digging into something you probably use every day, but have no idea how it even works. Indium. We've got a bunch of sources ready to go, a periodic table website, a Wikipedia page, a scientific podcast transcript, even a little snippet of indium's history. So we'll go way past just the basic facts and figure out what makes indium special, why it's so important, and even whether we might run out of it someday. But first, when you hear the word indium, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's probably touchscreens, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely what most people think of first. I mean, they're right. Those fancy touchscreens really wouldn't exist without indium. But to get why, we got to understand this element a little better, get up close and personal with it. So indium, it's a post-transition metal, silvery white color. And the crazy thing is how soft it is. Like, picture this. You could cut indium with a butter knife. That's how soft we're talking.
Whoa, seriously. I never would have thought something that soft would be in all our gadgets.
Right. But that softness is actually key to why it works so well. Touchscreens got to be conductive, so electricity flows through them. Yeah. But also transparent, so we can see the screen. And indium, well, you can make it into these super thin films, practically invisible, but still conductive. Perfect match. Made in tech heaven.
So it's like this hidden superhero metal quietly powering all our devices. But I'm curious now, where does it even come from? Like on the periodic table, where's this indium hanging out?
Oh, it's got its own little spot, just like all the elements. Group 13, right between gallium and thallium. A real middle child, you could say.
Uh-huh. The periodic table, always a classic. But is indium just kind of average then? Stuck in the middle, blending in?
Nah, not quite. It's more like it got some traits from both its neighbors, but also has its own quirks, like take the melting point higher than gallium, lower than thallium. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Following the pattern. But then you look at the boiling point, and it flips the script. Higher than thallium, but lower than gallium.
So it's like those weird family traits, Sometimes you're all mom, sometimes all dad, and sometimes it's like, where'd that come from?
Exactly. And in indium's case, that unique combo of properties, that's what makes it so useful. Not just for touchscreens either.
Okay, now you've really got me hooked. Spill it. What else is this crazy metal used for?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. You find it in alloys, so mixtures of metals. Helps make them stronger, changes their melting point. And this might surprise you, it's even in nuclear reactors.
No.
And some types of dental fillings. Who knew, right?
Hold up, dental fillings. That's a curveball I was not expecting. Nuclear reactors, too. Indium is way more versatile than I thought.
Yep, and it's all thanks to that unique combo we talked about. The low melting point, the high conductivity, even how well it sticks to glass. That's important for some applications.
It's crazy how something so, basic as the properties of an element can end up in so many different places, But I gotta ask, if it's used for all this stuff, how easy is it to even get indium? Some of our sources made it sound pretty rare.
See, that's where it gets tricky. Indium, you don't find it just sitting around in big deposits like some metals. It's actually a byproduct of zinc refining. So you're getting zinc. And indium kind of comes along for the ride.
Wait, so you're telling me my phone has indium in it, but it's not actually that rare? I'm so confused.
That's why we got to be careful about the difference between, crustal abundance. So how much of an element exists in the Earth's crust, total, versus supply potential. Just because it's out there doesn't mean we can easily get to it, or that it makes economic sense to do so.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. Even if there's a ton of indium hanging around, our ability to actually use it depends on how much zinc we're refining. That must create a lot of uncertainty for, companies that rely on indium.
Well, absolutely. And to make things even more interesting, our sources have kind of different takes on just how much indium is actually tucked away in those zinc reserves. It's a messy situation, lots of factors at play, economics, politics, even where geographically the zinc is coming from. So, as we were saying before the break, indium, it's kind of living in zinc's shadow, right? Its destiny is tied to another metal.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about, this element that's in pretty much every phone, every touch screen, but it only exists because we're trying to get zinc.
It's a strange world, the periodic table.
Yeah.
But it brings up some interesting questions, about the future of indium. Our sources mention the possibility of substitutes, other materials that could do indium's job. Not that they're going to totally replace it anytime soon, but...
But it makes you wonder, right? What if scientists come up with something better than indium tenoxide for touchscreens? What happens to indium then? Does it just fade into obscurity?
Not necessarily. Remember all those other uses we talked about? Alloys, nuclear reactors, even dental fillings? Indium's got a pretty diverse portfolio, you could say.
True, but I'm guessing those don't create as much demand as, millions of smartphones. So if the touchscreen thing went away, wouldn't that hit indium's price pretty hard?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Less demand usually means lower prices. That's just economics. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, come on. You can't just leave me hanging. What's so interesting about the price dropping?
Well, think about it right now. There's probably indium out there that we could get, but it's not worth it. It's too expensive to extract compared to what we'd get for selling it. But what if the price drops enough? Suddenly, those sources become way more appealing.
Whoa, you're saying like indium could go from being the sidekick to the main event. That's a pretty big status change.
Exactly. It shows you how, even for something as fundamental as an element, its value, its importance,
Yeah.
that's all in flux. Technology changes, economic shift, even geopolitics can play a role. It's a dynamic system, for sure.
This is really making me think differently about all the stuff we just use every day. Like, there's a whole hidden world of elements, supply chains, economics behind it all.
There is. And for indium, one of the big things our sources mentioned is recycling. Right now, it's less than 1% of indium that gets recycled. Crazy low.
Whoa, seriously. That means all those old phones, computers, whatever, most of that indium just vanishes. That can't be good.
Nope, not good at all. So thinking about sustainability, that's got to change. And it's not just about recycling either. It's about our choices as consumers. Do we need the newest phone every year? Can we make our devices last longer? These are questions we should all be asking ourselves.
It really highlights how, even though it seems like individual actions don't matter much, when you multiply that by millions of people, it can have a real impact on something like indium's future.
Absolutely. Our choices matter more than we realize. But hey, moving on. There's one other thing about indium that's pretty wild, and I think our listeners might get a kick out of it.
More. Indium just keeps getting weirder and more interesting. Lay it on me.
And we are back. Still geeking out about indium over here. This element is way more fascinating than I ever would have thought.
Right. Who knew there was so much to say about this kind of obscure metal?
I know. But okay, before the break, you were teasing us with something else about indium, something wild.
I'm all ears.
All right, so get this. Indium can actually cry.
Cry! Like actual tears. Hold up. I thought we were talking about a metal here.
Not tears, no, haha. But it does make a sound when you bend it. Kind of a high-pitched squeal, or some people say it's like a crackling. All because of this thing called crystal twinning.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that one. What's crystal twinning and why is it making indium scream?
So picture a crystal, right? All those atoms arranged in this super organized pattern. But when you bend a metal like indium, you're putting stress on those atoms. They gotta move somehow. And what can happen is they shift a little, just enough to create a boundary, where you've got two different crystal structures kind of mashed together. That's the twin part. And as those boundaries form, move around, they release energy. And that energy, we hear it as sound waves, hence the cry.
So it's not like indium's sad or anything. It's more like a physical response to being messed with.
Exactly. It's a stress reliever for indium, I guess.
Ha ha, that is just wild. And it shows, again, how the structure of an element, even at the atomic level, can lead to the crazy, unexpected things we see in the real world.
Totally. It's like a reminder that there's always more going on than meets the eye, even with something as seemingly simple as a metal.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into indium, what's the one big thing you hope our listeners take away from all this?
I think the main thing is don't underestimate the simple stuff, like the properties of an element. Those can have huge ripple effects, shaping industries, technology, even geopolitics, like we saw with indium. There's always more to learn, always another layer to peel back, even with things we think we know.
And on that note, we got to give a shout out to recycling, making sure those valuable elements like indium get reused, not just tossed away. Our choices as consumers, they really do matter.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps. And who knows what the future holds for indium, right? Maybe someday we'll find even more uses for it, even cooler applications.
I'm excited to see what happens, but for now, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into indium. It's been a wild ride. And hey, listeners, here's a little something to think about. If you were a scientist and you had to replace indium in touchscreens, what element would you pick? What properties would you be looking for? Keep those brains buzzing, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.